Volkswagen Golf GTI is one of my favorite cars in the whole world, but this new Mark 8 model has a huge problem that we've got to talk about. Jared here with carbuzz.com, and as I mentioned earlier, I was happy as a clam when Volkswagen sent me this new 2022 Volkswagen Golf GTI to review for a week because I frankly love these cars. I had a Mark 5 Jetta GLI. These are in my blood. But after driving this for a week, I've discovered a huge flaw with it that would actually make me hesitant to recommend it to you. I'm going to show you why, but first let me talk about why I love this new GTI. So before I talk to you about this car's big fatal flaw, I want to get one thing straight. There is nothing wrong with how this GTI drives. In fact, I think it's better than it's ever been. We still have Volkswagen's 2-liter turbocharged EA888 engine, but it produces more power and more torque than ever. 241 horsepower, 273 pound-feet of torque. That's up 17 horsepower and 15 pound-feet from the 7th generation car. Those may not sound like huge increases, but this new GTI feels really quick. This DSG transmission shifts so quick, and if you want, Volkswagen will still sell you a GTI with a good old-fashioned 6-speed manual. And although the GTI doesn't sound as good as a Hyundai Veloster N, they've definitely added a little bit more drama. You can hear a little bit of cracks and pops from the DSG when it shifts gears. Overall, it's a really enjoyable experience. This car puts the power down so well for a front-wheel drive vehicle, even with the traction control off. And I love the steering in this car. It's so sharp. You can put this car exactly where you want to do. I have so much fun driving this new GTI. But I think the coolest part about the Mark 8 GTI is the dynamic chassis control, the DCC, these being the adaptive dampers. So I've been driving it around in comfort mode, which is quite soft, but as you see, I'm gonna go ahead and put it into sport mode, and now the suspension gets a whole lot more bouncy. There's a lot more jiggle in the suspension. I have never driven a car at this price point that is able to go from being so comfortable to so firm with the push of a button. It's both really cool and a bit unnecessary because I would never want my car to be this firm on the firmest setting. Overall, I'm thrilled with how the new GTI drives. I'm happy that VW still knows how to engineer a brilliant front-wheel drive car, but they're not great at everything. Now, I've got to pull over to talk about the big issue with this car and why, for possibly the first time in my adult life, I would hesitate to recommend the new GTI. To explain the scope of the issue to you, I've borrowed this 2016 Golf GTI from my local dealership, Porsche of Orlando. This car is currently listed for around $20,000 with 50,000 miles, which is around half the price of our fully loaded Autobahn GTI tester. And honestly, I think I'd rather have the old car. Let me explain to you why. Let's hop inside the Mark 7 where you'll notice that the two cars aren't 100% comparable because this example happens to be the base S trim. That means we have these gorgeous cloth plaid seats that I absolutely love. We have a little bit of a smaller touchscreen than you would get in the higher trim version of a Golf GTI, and this one happens to be the 3-door model, which Volkswagen no longer makes. But I want you to ignore all of those details and just focus on what made this car so great. The materials in here were fantastic, almost as good as an Audi from the same period. We've got a soft touch dashboard, soft touch materials on the door. The shifter is this awesome golf ball that feels really nice in your hand. The steering wheel also feels great as well. This was a really premium car that felt way above its price tag. But what I miss most of all about the Mark 7 was the raw simplicity. Just check out this center stack. We have a reasonably sized screen. If I want to raise the volume, I get a knob. Up, down, super quickly. If I want to tune, I get another knob. Just for that, I want to put on my heated seat, a button right there. I just click it. I want the temperature cold, I go this way. I want it hot, I go this way. Fan speed, up, down, up, down. We've got buttons here on the steering wheel where I can do a lot of the same things. Raise the volume, lower the volume. It was so easy. There's nothing wrong with this. But wait until you see what they did with the Mark 8. Okay, so my first problem with the Mark 8, remember in the Mark 7 we have these really nice soft touch door cards? Well, it feels like they cheaped out here in the Mark 8. This is just not as nice or as soft of a material, and it gets way worse here in the back. This stuff is scratchy, hard plastic. So although VW has certainly cheaped out in a few areas, there are others where the GTI still feels very premium. For example, these seats, they are great. I prefer the cloth tartan seats that you can get in the base model, but we've got the top Autobahn trim, which gets you these leather seats that are heated and ventilated. You've never been able to get ventilated seats on the GTI, which is quite nice. We also have this really nice steering wheel that still feels great in my hand. You get perforations here, and this steering wheel is heated. These are all really nice amenities for a GTI that you haven't been able to get in the past. Unfortunately, all those amenities come at a price. While the base GTI S costs about $30,000, this Autobahn with the DSG transmission that we're sitting in costs around $40,000, and that's a huge amount to spend on a GTI. I think if you were getting the base S for $30,000 or even an SE for about $35,000, that would make sense to me. But if you're gonna go all out and already spend $40 on the Autobahn trim level, you might as well just spend $5 grand more to get the Golf R. You get a lot more power, you get all-wheel drive. It really is more bang for your buck if you're already spending this much on a Golf. But no matter which GTI trim you get, and I mentioned there are some nice things in here, the cost cutting is hard to ignore. I already mentioned the cost cutting inside, but there's more cost cutting under the hood where you get one of these, a hood prop. That might not sound like such a big deal. Boo-hoo, you have to prop your hood up. How often are you gonna do that? But if we move over here to the 2016 car, it gets a hood strut. Come on. Why does the old car have a hood strut and the new one has a hood prop? And then you look at the engine cover, which has this nice Volkswagen badge. It's labeled TSI, the type of engine that it has. And then if we come over here to the new car, they couldn't even be bothered to put a label on it. That just feels cheap to me, especially when you consider this new car is $40,000. So now before we talk about the big elephant in this car, now is a great time to remind everybody to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell to be alerted of our latest videos. And if you want to read more about the 2022 Volkswagen Golf GTI, be sure to check out carbuzz.com. All right, so now we're gonna talk about the big elephant, the one you've probably heard all of the journalists complain in their reviews about this car, the touch controls. This is the sole reason why I would hesitate to recommend this car. Everything, and I do mean everything, is controlled on the touchscreen. There are no physical buttons, knobs, switches anywhere to control the infotainment or the climate. Do you remember how easy it was to adjust the fan speed in the GTI? Grab a knob, turn it up, turn it down, whatever you wanted to do. Here's how you have to do it in the Mark 8. You have to come down here, you have these 4 little shortcuts here. You push the one that says Clima. It's gonna pull up our climate controls. You can see that was a little bit laggy. And then you can now use this touch slider to raise or lower the fan speed. That's just an extra step that I don't need. And you may notice that this climate control menu takes up the entire screen. There's no way to quickly do this without leaving what you were doing. So if you were navigating and you wanted to see where you were going, but wanted to change the climate control really quickly, you have to leave navigation to do that. I really wish that they would have just made this climate ribbon on the bottom permanent. That would have fixed a lot of the issues here. But I will admit, you don't always have to leave the screen you're on. There are a couple of shortcuts down here to adjust the volume and the temperature, not the fan speed, which is just an oversight that I cannot believe Volkswagen made, but even these are very finicky to use. Let me show you. So you get a touch slider here in the middle that controls the volume. You can either tap it like this to raise the volume up, tap it to go down, or you can slide your finger across, but I'm having a lot of trouble getting it to go precisely where I want to do, and it's a little bit distracting to use while you're driving. It's the same setup for the climate controls. You get a blue zone that's gonna lower the temperature, a red zone that's going to raise it, and then you get the same over here for the passenger side. And if you want to change the temperature quickly, you can either slide things up or slide them down. But the big problem with all 3 of these is that none of them are backlit at night. So if you're driving this car and it's really dark out, you can't see what any of these zones do. If you're in the driver's seat, you can mitigate using some of those controls because obviously you have buttons on the steering wheel, but even these have an issue. Unlike the physical buttons you got in the Mark 7 GTI, these are this weird combination of haptic feedback with an actual button that you can push and click. You can see the steering wheel controls are made of this gloss black material, which means they're gonna get smudges all over them. So to do something like raise the volume, you can either slide your finger across it, which is really distracting to try and do while you drive, or you can just push and hold the button, but it takes kind of a second before things register. This is nowhere near as convenient, and it's a little bit more distracting than just a normal button. I don't know why Volkswagen thought that this was a better idea. There is one thing though that I really like about this new GTI compared to the old one, and that is this digital gauge cluster. I think it looks really cool. There's a bunch of different views that you can change from. You can have it be your normal tach and speedometer, or you can change it to a more basic layout. You can have a full color map, which is quite nice if you're using your navigation. Or my favorite one of all is this sport gauge, where you have the tachometer real nice and big in the center there. I think that looks great. And when you change the ambient light color, the gauges actually change color as well. I think that is a really nice detail, kind of like a Ford Mustang. And one last thing I should mention about this new GTI is that you can do a lot of the same stuff on this screen using your voice command. So to activate my ventilated seat is kind of a pain in the butt, because Volkswagen put in this clever thing where you can double tap on the climate control with 2 fingers and it'll activate your heated seat, but it won't do the same for your ventilated seat. To get to the ventilated seat, you have to click right here. That pulls up the climate control menu. Now I have to click 3 times to turn my heated seat off. Now I can turn my ventilated seat on. But you see how much of a pain that was? Or I can just say, hey Volkswagen, turn on my passenger's ventilated seat. Wait for it.
Okay, improving the air quality.
See, she got it wrong. So I wanted a ventilated seat and she thought I said I wanted more climate control. It raised the fan speed. This is the big problem with voice command. I know Volkswagen thinks that this would be easier than the touch commands, but as you can see, it does not work perfectly every time. All right, so I've shown you how difficult this technology is for an automotive journalist like me who reviews a different car every week to use. So I think the average consumer isn't going to understand this at all. To prove that point, I've got my mother, Dina, who drives a brand new Audi, so she has experience in a brand new vehicle with similar types of technology, but Dina also uses an AOL email account, so this should be fun. Okay, so my mother, when she's in the car, only listens to one radio station. What is that?
Gosh, 105.1.
All right, mother, change the radio station to 105.1. My mother has never been in this car. She's looking for.
So I change the radios.
Change the radios.
Is it on the screen or is it in the?
It could
somewhere else?
Could be on the screen.
Well, I would think it would be in the screen somewhere. I'm going to play with this a little bit. Settings, maybe?
Probably not.
I don't even know how to go back.
We're off to a great start. So that little square on the left is going to take you to your home screen on right here. That's your home screen. This is your home screen here.
Okay.
You can go to the left.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, it's like an iPhone. Like imagine this is like an iPhone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Radio.
Radio and media, she found it. Okay. It's on Sirius. So you need to get from Sirius to FM, which is what 105.1 is on.
I found FM.
FM! Right. Okay, now you're on the wrong station. You got to get to 105.1. All right, she figured it out. She's got to keep going. Success! And that only took a few minutes. Not too bad, right?
No, that's not bad.
First task accomplished. All right, so second task. My mother likes to drive around. We live in Florida. It's very hot. I would like you to turn on your ventilated seat. This car has ventilated seats. And adjust the temperature to 67 and turn up the fans because I'm hot. I need a higher fan speed. So put on your ventilated seat.
I think it's this one.
She sees it. Okay, there you go.
Okay, and then AC.
Okay, no,
right,
that's to turn it on and off.
Okay, and then I want to...
Okay, that's the fan speed. She figured out the fan speed, okay?
Okay, and then what was the other task?
Turn the temperature down because I'm a little hot. All right, there you go. She's figuring this out on the touch screen. Okay, and your ventilated seat on your side.
That's this.
That's the heated seat.
Oh, that's heated. All right, well, it was cold like 24 hours
Okay,
ago.
so now you have to turn the heated seat off.
Woo!
Because you have both on.
Okay, it's chilly in here.
All
I'm
right,
freezing.
the fans are too high. You got to turn those down.
All right, I can slide that.
Okay, so she figured that out without too much difficulty. But could you do all of that while you were driving?
Oh my God, no.
We are going to the Orlando Magic game tonight. I would like you to get me to the Amway Center on the GPS. My mom uses her GPS all the time, so if this car doesn't have an easy-to-use GPS, then, then it's no good.
All right, let's swipe the screen. No.
Nope. So this is your climate control screen. You're stuck on it.
That
just turned all the climate on and off.
All right, I don't want to do
Leave
that.
it. Nope, that turned the AC
All right,
off.
how about that one?
That one. There you go. Now you're
All
back
right,
on the radio.
I'm out, and now I go back to the square, I'm
Now
guessing.
you're back to the square, yes.
And now I need to get in the GPS.
Yes.
So let's go again. Navigation?
That could be it.
Suggestions?
No suggestions available, so you're looking.
Search?
There you go.
And then I'm going to type in Orlando. What am I typing in?
Amway Center. Oh, she accidentally bumped into the volume.
Oh my goodness. Where's the space button? I think the heat just came on my heated seat.
So she turned on her heat. Now she has to get in and turn off the heated seat.
Shoot.
Nope, so you clicked it too many times. She's not doing this on purpose.
This is the very first time I promise you.
And by the way, you turned off the AC, so it's blowing hot air on us.
Now I
right
got
now.
the heat on.
Yeah, there we go. All right,
Okay.
I'm getting uncomfortable. I had to turn the AC back on.
Okay, so let me get out of this.
Yes,
right?
you have to get out of that again.
And get out. Oh,
Nope, you were just on your map.
But I found the navigation
Yes,
system.
you were. Yep.
And then search.
Search.
So.
It wasn't popping up because you had missed Amway. You had misspelled it. You missed the M. Nope. So you're bumping into. There you go. Am.
Oh my goodness.
Way. Oh, I see it. There you go. And the Volkswagen was actually able to find it. And then I would say, there you go. All right, so my mom actually could use the GPS in this car. All right, so last one. My mother would never do this in a car. I don't think you've ever turned off the traction control in a car in your entire life.
I don't even know what traction control is.
So this is something that an enthusiast might want to do in a car like the GTI, but I have a feeling my mom is just not going to figure this one out. But let's see. I would like you to turn off the traction control in this car. This took me a half hour to do, by the way.
With traction control, it's definitely on here somewhere.
Somewhere.
Vehicle?
Vehicle could do it.
All right, so exterior is all these things.
Right.
Interior?
Nope.
No. So exterior, I don't even know if I'm in the right
so
spot.
Yep, there you go. All right, so there's different stuff.
Brakes, window, wipers, service, mirrors. No, I don't see any options.
It's in one of those.
Oh, it is?
It is.
Brakes?
Might be.
I guess there's no cheating. Central locking? Central locking?
No, it's not locking. That's the doors
All right,
and
so,
stuff.
all right, let's go back to brakes.
Brakes. Oh my goodness, my mom has found it. She stumbled on the menu. So it's activated. And then ESC Sport or ESC Off. There you go. I cannot. My mom just figured it out. So
Do I get a prize?
So I think what we've discovered is that maybe all the journalists complaining about this car were just a bunch of whiners. My mom could figure this car out, as we've seen.
I think I'm in shock.
All right, last thing I want to show my mom, because this is the thing I'm not such a huge fan of in this car. So you don't always have to use the screen for certain things. So you know how you had to get into this like separate climate menu for stuff? So you can adjust the temperature. So you can either go up like this, down like this, or you can like swipe like this, or these buttons here also do that. So you see how I tap here, cold, hot, and then volume up, volume down. So is that easy for you? So put your finger on that and like slide it up and down for the temperature. Yeah, so try to set it to 70 on that side. So that's cold. See how it's red there?
Okay.
There you go. So you set it to 70. Now try to go to like 75. See what you like. That's cold. That one's hot.
Oh.
No, you like that.
This one I don't like.
So, all right. Yeah, so that's how you would do it without using the touchscreen. Is
Yeah.
that easier or harder?
Harder.
So what would be better than these touch controls?
Maybe a little dial or something?
Who could have thought of that? A dial to change the temperature and the
It's
volume.
just easier to just twist it.
Much easier. So what we've determined is that my mother can figure this out. Remember, while parked, I think this would be a lot tougher. I guarantee you she couldn't do this while it was moving, and I didn't even want to risk our lives trying. But Volkswagen, you might want to consider a little bit of a simpler system. Now at this point, you might be wondering, why would you ask your mother to do all of these things? She is clearly not the target demographic for a Golf GTI. That is why I have got Austin, my camera guy, who is with me for every car I shoot, so he should have some good idea on how all of this technology stuff works. I'm gonna give him the same tasks I gave my mother. All right, Austin, so the first task I'm gonna give you is turn the radio station to 105.1. Just tune the radio station. That's something that shouldn't be too hard, right? Okay, so he found the menu, but that's Apple CarPlay. He's already off to a great start. Nope, he's clicking mode. That's to change the drive modes on the car.
Now I feel the pressure. Okay, here we go. Home button.
All right, he's home button. He's back to the home menu. There you go. Again, radio and media. That was a good place.
Okay.
It's already on 105.1. All right, I want you on 98.6. All right, he's figuring it out. He's scrolling.
98.
98.5. There is that. Okay, now I want you to change it to Sirius because I don't want to listen to FM anymore.
Oh, okay.
There we go. All right. Okay, he figured that out. We don't have Sirius installed, but okay, not too bad there. Next task. Turn down the fans. I think they're blowing a little too hard on me. Turn down the fans.
Okay.
All right, he found the climate control. All right, there we
slide.
go. He found the menu. Okay, so Austin was able to figure out the slider. All right, there we go. All right, Austin, I'm done with the radio. Turn down the volume.
Is this?
Nope.
No.
The volume. There's no knob? Just grab the knob, bro. There's a knob. No, there is, I will give him a hint. There is, it's not on the screen. There is another area that'll turn down the volume.
There. Just
Oh my God. So he muted the radio, but okay, so actually this is the volume down here. You
Oh my
swipe this up and
gosh.
down. Okay, so Austin wasn't able to find the volume. Interesting. Last task. I want to go see the Orlando Magic play. So navigate me to 400 West Church Street. That's the address of the Amway Center. 400 West Church Street. I'll give you the address. Okay, navigation. He got it. Search. Oh, he found this one quickly. 400 West Church Street.
Jeez, why isn't it automatically coming up?
Where's the delete button?
Yeah, where is it?
Where's the delete button? He messed up.
Oh.
I think that's it. There you go. There you go. Got it. Yay. And that should navigate us to the Orlando Magic.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of pressure, right?
Yeah.
Not that easy to figure out. I guess if you own the car for a little bit, you get used to it, but
Yeah.
not easy.
It's really not that simple. And
Yep.
I'm like, when you were asking me to turn the volume down, I'm like, automatically just
Searching
for,
for,
the knob.
for a knob.
And it's not there.
You have some on the steering wheel. Okay, turn the volume up using the steering wheel.
Well, now that you told me that trick, I think it's maybe this one.
There you go.
Okay.
But you see how you have to like tap it?
Yeah, I was literally just, you have to really push
Yeah,
it.
not great.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Okay, final task. This is a big one for car enthusiasts who would own a Volkswagen Golf GTI. Turn off the traction control. Normally there's a button over there by the steering wheel. You just hold it, it's off or down here, whatever. Figure out how to turn off the
it's not
traction
there.
control. It's
Okay.
not that. There's no
Okay.
button.
All right, so I'll go to vehicle.
Vehicle, that's a good place to start. All right, vehicle. There you go.
No.
He's figuring out how to scroll. Central locking, windows, service position. That's not right.
I don't.
Now the volume came up because he tapped that accidentally, because you can bump those accidentally while you're scrolling.
Service position?
Nope, that's the windshield wipers. Put those up. That's stop start. I will tell you, you were in the right place before, you're in the wrong place now.
Okay.
This took me a half hour to figure
Interior?
out. Nope. It is on the exterior. I'll give you a hint. You blew past it.
It's the braking?
Braking. They call it brakes for some. See, I'm having to help him out. Otherwise, there you go. ESC activated, and now you can go to sport or off. Why is it under braking?
What?
Listen, once you know where it is, you know where it is, but that is way too many steps to turn off the traction control. And without the traction control off, you can't use launch control.
What the heck?
Why?
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Crazy.
I literally blew by it.
Blew by it 5 times. Took me a half hour.
I really hope that the folks at Volkswagen listen to the feedback from journalists, because I got to imagine that customers are going to have the same complaints that I did about that interior. They really need to do an emergency refresh on this car to rectify those issues, because until they do, I think the GTI is a little bit tough for me to recommend. This is way worse than when Honda decided to get rid of volume knobs in its cars, and that decision took years to eventually rectify. As of now, I think I'd rather have something from Hyundai like the Veloster N or the Elantra N, or wait for the new Honda Civic Type R, because with that setup, I would just be too frustrated to drive the GTI every day.